What's up, everybody? Welcome to Dave's Man Cave, or return to Dave's Man Cave. So we're going to do another quick, I don't even know what the box is, so I guess it's not technically an unboxing, it's just a quick overview of a watch I found yesterday, and like a lot. More so than the watch that is similar to this, which was a Seiko speed timer that I had a little while ago. I ended up selling that, as I've downsized my collection to focus on certain pieces. Most of them are more, into the 1 to 2 or 3,000-ish range, but I still do keep an eye out for a good bargain for a cool brand that I like to wear. And I'm gonna try to move the watch around a little differently, meaning I'm not gonna move it around as much, and I've zoomed in a little bit, so hopefully you can see more about the watch, and then I'll move the watch around and then do some close-up stuff. But what this is this is the Carson from Citizen. So it's a Citizen watch. Go over the model number and specs real quick, and then go over why I like it and maybe why you would too. If I make some verbal typos, please excuse me, because I don't script these things. I don't do multiple takes. I don't edit them and chop them up. I just go, I'm just a dude. Here's what I bought, and here's what I think is interesting and why you might like it. And that's it. So we take the good with the bad, or bad with the good. Whatever. See, there I go. Already got a perfect example. So what is this? The model is Charlie Alpha 4540-54 Alpha. Okay, so that's a CA 4540-54A. Uses the B620 movement. It is eco drive, so it's powered by any light source. Sunlight obviously has more energy, so charges it faster. You never have to replace the battery. You don't have to service it. You don't have to do anything. You just basically give it some light once in a while. And once it's fully charged, usually you're good for like 6 months in complete darkness. If you're in the dark for more than 6 months, you probably got other issues. And so you basically, you just wear it for the next 20 years. And at some point, if you got to send it in to have the cell replaced, they say, don't do that. It's not a battery you can remove yourself. But they seem to last damn near forever. The case width, which is what drew me to this, besides the look, is a 43 mil. It's got a 20 mil lug width. Now on their website, they don't give you the measurement. I couldn't find my calipers, so I laid it face down over here off the side where it measures centimeters. And then the lug to lug width appears to be right at like 50 millimeters. So it is a little bit on the larger side, which is fine for Dave. You got your stainless steel bracelet, stainless steel two-tone case. It is sapphire crystal, and it's got a nice 100-meter water resistance. It is a chronograph, and I do like the clasp. And I'll tell you why in some, I know Seiko seems to get more attention than Citizen, but I think in some ways I prefer Citizen. It's almost like I prefer the Seiko name just because the brand image, but Citizen is another Japanese brand, and they got some fantastic freaking watches. And I'll tell you, when I look at like my King Turtle and my King Samurai, which both were automatics and cost more than this. I only paid $405 for this, brand new. So when I look at the Seikos, yeah, they're very nice. But the bracelets I don't feel are as good, especially when you get to the clasp. Notice at this price point, a really nice, sturdy stainless steel milled clasp. Now your micro adjust is only 2 positions, and there are no half links, but all these links are not small, but they're, I guess they're not small. They're still pretty. When you look at the distances here, it's deceiving because it's pinned in 2 different places. But if you go every other pin, I was able to get it to fit my wrist fine at 7.3 inches. I did have to take out 3 links. But to have a nice, sleek, clean clasp like that, you're not going to get a whole lot of room for micro adjust. I don't know if they could have really fit anything more in there. I mean, maybe they could have put one in between that, between those two, to give you a little bit more micro adjusting. But with that piece of metal only being that long, you're not going to get much more of that. In order to get more micro adjust, you'd have to have a bigger clasp. I like the way this is small. It's clean. I like the fact that the buttons are hidden, as they say. I mean, you can see them, but they're not sticking out, which helps keep this, I think, a bit more sleek, and I think it looks a bit more classy. It's just nice, even though it looks different. it kind of keeps almost the same width the whole way without buttons sticking out. You don't have that fold over clasp that has that security lock, which again makes that bigger and bulkier. Top to bottom, they keep it rather slim. And I kind of like that. And I like when you open it up, you got a great milled clasp. The back is very basic, simply adorned, just has citizen and some specs and the model number and your water resistance and stuff like that. Your bracelet is push pins. And what you doing over there, Poppy? Every once in a while she gets up, has to flap her ears. And loom check, son of a bitch. I don't. Hold on, Poppy. I don't have my flashlight here, but the loom it's a citizen. The loom seemed pretty damn good. I think the dial is really nice. We'll see if we can zoom in there without too much glare from the overhead light. The markings around the bezel, obviously a non-rotating bezel, but you got your tachometer. So what this thing is, it's an interesting because, you know, I've gotten away from homages, but obviously there are certain design cues that even big iconic brands, you know, Seiko and others will borrow from, because it's a certain style that kind of harkens back to a certain era. And so when I think of the Daytonas or the Omega Speedmaster, you know, Seiko has their speed timer, which is similar, and it was out in 1969. It's not like, oh, Daytona's gotten really popular lately in the last 10 years and everybody wants one, and so, you know, we're going to go ahead and make our version of one. I mean, they've had their own design forever that was similar. It's a 60s, late 60s, early 70s era chronograph. And I think most of my favorite watches, when I look at my collection, as far as what I like aesthetically, a lot of them are those retro 70s divers or 70s watches. And this is one of them. I love the two-tone bracelet. I wouldn't call it Jubilee because Jubilee has them alternating, where the polished and the brushed links or segments of the links are not in the same plane. They kind of alternate, but it does give that sort of Jubilee-ish vibe. With those alternating links and being 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you know, segments across. Sits on the wrist nice for a 43 mil. Love it a lot. I think it looks great. They do also put it in a black dial. But for $400, I mean, this is the thing about this, and I keep saying, well, I'm going to stick to more high-end stuff, and Frederic Constant, Longines, and Cuervo y Sobrinos, and Hamiltons, and maybe I got a Tog, you know, stuff like that. When I hold this watch up next to my Tog, I don't feel like the Tog is all that much better. It cost 4 times as much, but I don't know that it's 4 times the watch, especially with the Formula One series. Now, maybe if we're talking about a Carrera, but for $400 to get a great solar, accurate movement that you never have to service or change batteries and worry about, well, if you change the battery, did you break the seal and not get the gasket exactly right, and now you compromise your water resistance. You know, you just set the time and freaking forget it. Just give it light every once in a while, which even just sitting in a room with ample lighting will keep the thing charged and keeping accurate time. I love the solid links, the very sturdy feel of the bracelet. I love the milled clasp. I love that hidden push button design. Very nice. I like the fact that it comes with sapphire glass, which a lot of the Seikos in this price range don't. They come with hardlex. So when I look at this watch, I'm like, this is a fantastic watch. That is a lot of value for money. It's very classic. It does give off that sort of, you know, it is a panda design. It kind of looks like the Daytona and the Omega Speedmaster sort of had a love child, and this is what it is. It's got vibes of both. At 43 mil, it will be a bit bigger than some folks will like, and if that's the case, I would say, you know, but you want that style watch, go for the Seiko Prospex speed timer, which is a 41.4, which sits very small but nice on the wrist, and is also solar. Now, it is a couple bucks more. You'll probably pay about $550, $600 for it. But it's a Seiko, and it's got similar specs, but I believe it also has hardlex. I don't know if that one has the milled clasp. I believe, I'd have to go look at my reviews. I don't want to misspeak, but I don't know. I just don't remember if that one has milled versus stamped. But when you look at all the nice little touches of really nice polishing, you know, the fit and finish on a Seiko or on a Citizen is always excellent. Even on their watches that are like $130. like their entry-level quartz. They're just really nice watches. It's not screw down crown. It's, it is only 100-meter water resistant. So you can, swim in the pool with it and take a shower and a bath and stuff like that. But I wouldn't go snorkeling with it necessarily. Technically, if you're only going down like 10, 15, 20 feet, you got 100-meter water resistance. It should be fine. I would say anytime if I'm going to go snuba or snorkeling or something like that in the ocean, I'm going to take, a watch, even if at least it's got, a screw down crown. And probably not a chronograph, unless that also has a screw down crown. And a lot of chronographs don't in that price range. So I have some that do, and I would probably take one of those or take a dive watch or frankly a G-Shock. So if you smack into a piece of coral or something, you don't have to worry about scratching up your nice watch. But there you have it. I'm hoping that this zoom and stuff lets you see more details, but now we'll do a couple slow-mos. Dial. Very, very pretty. Very classy. Very retro, very, very cool looking. Let's go ahead and see that stopwatch action. Reset. Nice sweeping. It's really nice. Now that second is off on the stopwatch. So you can usually adjust that, I believe, by pulling this out. No, hold on. Let's reset it. Or am I just looking at the wrong hand? Because it just happens to be at the top of the hour. If I pull that out, yeah, there we go. Yeah, I think you can adjust it that way. The problem is I'm doing this at exactly the right time when the hour hand is there as well. So I'll have to wait till the hour hand gets out of the way, and then usually you can pull that out and then use this button to click it around and reset that 0. So anyway, everything looks good. It's beautiful. It's got a little bit of weight, but it's not heavy and cumbersome. Not by any means. Show you the side polishing, the brushing there. Just a very beautiful watch and a great price. That's the thing. Yeah, it's nice to have the togs and it's nice to show off a $2,000 Live micro brand or, those things. Those are definitely nice. I do enjoy my higher end watches. But there's something really satisfying about just a really nice watch that you didn't spend a ton of money for. But frankly, this watch will probably last as long as any of the others. It's very well made. It's a solid Japanese brand with good heritage and good warranty and service and a good reputation. So, there's nothing wrong with Japanese watches. The Japanese are second. Some people would say they're better than the Swiss because they're better value while being comparable quality. But even if you gave the nod to the Swiss, the Japanese are right there with them. So there you have it. Hope you enjoyed. By the way, we are like 2 subscribers away from hitting the 10,000 mark. So if you see this and you haven't subscribed, help a brother out. Want to hit 10K today. We'll see you guys later.